Okay.
Grazie a
No, you hang up behind there.
Is that stood up today?
I think so, eh?
Hurry there.
spent all day lots of sun.
Can you believe it's weather?
And the marshals are on it. It's now 38 seconds. Everything they can't work on the yard turns the sun.
That changes when you're done 59. That's something.
Jason! There we go. Thank you. I washed it. Okay? Yeah, I'm just gonna grab your garbage. I'm just gonna put this in unit 1. And then we'll go.
I'll let you do this tomorrow. I will see if she'll go back on. So that way.
yourself. I will say it's very wordy. It's got a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo and stuff related to taxes, so if you're interested in seeing any of this, then hey, article is in the description. This video is going to be made for entertainment purposes because I am obviously not smart enough to go out there and dissect, break down, and give the truth, so to speak, as to what's going on here. So, take a look at this article published on the National Post by Glenn McGregor from earlier this morning. Toronto Maple Leafs captain John Tavares is fighting Canada's tax agency over $8 million that the agency is claiming that he owes them. The dispute over the tax rate on a $15.3 million signing bonus could affect Tavares' future in Toronto and the ability of Canadian professional sports teams to sign top players. And that, obviously, seems like a pretty big deal. And the opening paragraph talks about how Toronto Maple Leafs captain John Tavares is taking the CRA to court in a fight over more than $8 billion in taxes and interest the government says that he owes. The dispute is described over here. It's over a signing bonus that Tavares received for joining the Maple Leafs nearly 6 years ago. But the outcome could affect Tavares' future in Toronto and, more broadly, the ability of Canadian professional sports teams to sign pricey top players. Now, if you want to go over and see what they're talking about, let's go over to Cap Friendly and look at John Tavares' current contract. So, right now, Tavares is on a 7-year deal with an AAV of $11 million. The article says that the dispute that's going on between Tavares and the CRA is pretty much revolving around the salary bonus that he got at the beginning of his contract. So, if we see the first year, 2018-19, of course, the AAV is $11 million. But there was a signing bonus that Tavares received in 2018-19 of $15.25 million. Now, I think most of us are familiar with how signing bonuses work in the NHL. They're normally lump sum payments that you get in the summer at the beginning of the year, and the base salary is the amount of money you are paid over the course of the next season. So, Tavares, in his first year of hockey playing with the Toronto Maple Leafs, got $15.25 million up front, and then over the course of the 2018-19 season, he was making a salary of $650,000. Now, these numbers change over the course of the year. You can see that the bonuses and the base salary are not the same every single year. It's normally like that, especially for players that are star players. They want to get their money right in front of them before playing out a season and getting a lower payment throughout the year. It's become a pretty constant pattern that we'll see between NHL athletes over the years. But for John Tavares, it's apparent that that $15 million that he got at the beginning of the contract is the reason he is going to court with the CRA right now. Tavares filed an appeal in the Tax Court of Canada last week with his lawyers seeking to have the CRA's assessment of his 2018 tax returns set aside. The appeal claims the CRA incorrectly calculated the taxes he owes on the $15.3 million signing bonus that was paid after his contract ended with the Islanders in 2018. Tavares argues that the bonus should have been taxed at only 15%, under a provision of the Canada-U.S. taxation treaty, which sets the lower tax rate for inducements such as signing bonuses paid to athletes, artists, actors, and musicians. The CRA, though, they're assessing that he must pay a rate of over 38% of the bonus, plus interest, but it has not yet filed a response to the appeal. None of the allegations have been proven in court. Now, where exactly are we going with this? What does this mean? Well, essentially, I think what the main issue is stemming from is the idea that because John Tavares was living in New York, he was drafted by the Islanders, he signed long-term with the Islanders, and it wasn't until 2018 that he left the Islanders to go to Toronto. Because he was living in New York, John Tavares' argument is, hey, that salary that I got, that signing bonus in the summer of 2018, that $15.25 mil, I don't need to pay huge amounts of taxes on it because of the treaty between Canada and the U.S., which makes it so that inducements, like signing bonuses, should be set at lower tax rates. But the CRA is saying, nah, man, you're paying 38% of that salary bonus, plus interest. And based off of the wording of this, again, I'm not smart enough to really dive deep. I'm no lawyer, attorney, or accountant here. I do my own accounting for my business, but yeah, $15 million is kind of out of my pay range. But there seems to to be some sort of a dispute within the language as to residency and how much tax should be applied to this specific payment of $15 million. The argument that says, oh yeah, there's a tax treaty between Canada and the U.S. which allows these kinds of payments to be taxed lower implies that Tavares is attacking this problem from the perspective saying, yeah, no, back in July of 2018, I was still living in New York. I was still in Long Island. I was not here as a Canadian living in Canada yet. Therefore, this Canadian-USA treaty should be upheld, right? But I guess you could say,
growing up, finances were not discussed in my family. I mean, there's some facts that, but I'm getting to a place where I'm feeling.
the moment he signs that pen to the dotted line, he is supposed to be committed to the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's supposed to be living in Canada, technically. The Toronto Maple Leafs are supposed to be his home team. So, what gives here? Let's scroll down into the article and read some more comments. Tavares is a marquee player, and there was a great amount of interest by the bidding teams in signing him. His lawyers state in the appeal filing to the tax court. The $50 million signing bonus offered by Toronto was integral to his decision to sign Toronto, the appeal says. The CRA's reassessment says Tavares' income for 2018 was $17.8 million higher than reported, and calculated he owed an additional $6.8 million in taxes plus $1.2 million in interest on the arrears according to the appeal. So, essentially, the tax machine is going out there and saying that Johnny T owes $8 billion in extra taxes to the CRA. Now, I have no doubt that John Tavares is probably in a position where if he wanted to pay that money up, he probably could. I mean, he's on a $77 billion contract right now, for crying out loud. But, of course, who wants to go out there and pay $8 billion out of nowhere 6 years after whatever it is that he owed actually came to fruition? Tavares argues that the bonus was paid into a US-based bank account in July 2018, and that he spent only 45 days in Canada between September and December of that year once he began playing with the Leafs. Okay, so there's exactly what I was talking about, how John Tavares at that time was still in New York, and it was in the New York bank account that the money was put in. The signing bonus was consideration for Tavares, a uniquely skilled and sought-after unrestricted free agent committed to the 7-year contract with the Maple Leafs, the appeal said, claiming it was not salary, not wages, or any other remuneration in respect of employment. The $17.8 million payment in the CRA sites represents only the 2018 portion of Tavares' entire signing bonus, which totals $70 million over the term of his contract. Tavares' appeal argues that his bonus is different from salary because it would still be paid to him if he were traded, sent to the minors, or injured, and it should not be considered normal income for tax purposes. As such, he argues the 2018 portion of the bonus should be taxed at only the 50% U.S. inducement rate. That is, this is all explained. I'm going to give some props to the writer over here, Glenn McGregor, for writing it out in this way, but at the end of the day, this still is a legal battle that John Tavares has found himself swamped within, because now all of a sudden we're talking about taxes on the YouTube channel and the amount of money that hockey players end up making. I mean, this article does do a little bit of fear-mongering, saying, oh, like, because the government is the way it is, because of the money, like, this is how it could affect the potential of big-name free agents coming to Canada, but, like, I think it's a little bit extra at this point. Right now, we're just talking mostly about Tavares, because this legal battle seems to involve mostly two different perspectives.
I'm so sorry. Present salary, did I hear? Huh?
Oh, I have a feeling that Montreal Canadiens fans are going to eat this one up. So, a few weeks ago, we had ourselves a very interesting segment on the Sportsnet TV broadcast, where in the midst of one of their period intermissions, you had yourselves former NHLer Luke Gastic go out there and talk in a pretty harsh way about Montreal Canadiens lying. This comment was made back in January, and I remember it was a really big deal when it was said, because in this time frame, Yuri Slafkovsky was slowly building himself back up. Everybody kind of acknowledges that he has had a considerable amount of growth in terms of his on-ice profile from the beginning of the season up until now, and so to see some of the guys on live national television saying, yeah, that guy deserves to be on the fourth line. Like, his numbers aren't great. Why is he this high up in the lineup? It was a very ignorant perspective, and coming from somebody that you could definitely tell has not really been paying too much attention to Canadians, to Slafkovsky, and the way his development has been going. So, a lot of Habs fans went out there and kind of, we went out there and taunted Jasek a little bit. You've got Habs on Reddit that was making a few tweets over the past few weeks talking about this. Here's one from January 15th, for example. Slafkovsky has as many points in his last 12 games as Sportsnet's Luke Gastic, who told him to go to the AHL in his entire career. That's kind of the stuff that we're seeing here. Well, leave it until February 6th, 2024, when we see the Montreal Canadiens suit up against the Washington Capitals for Slafkovsky to go out there and prove everybody wrong. And that includes Luke Gastic. You see, to help us out into this conversation, let's go over to the tape. There's a story here. I wanted to explore this with you a little bit. This was the tweet made by the Montreal Canadiens heading into yesterday's game against the Capitals. The Habs had a first line of Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, and Yuri Slafkovsky. But every other line after that, admittedly, was kind of bad. You got Yoel Armia, Gignac, and Anderson as your second line. Pearson, Evans, and Yolonen as your third line, and then Vizetta, Condona, and Harvey Pinard as the fourth line. My goodness, that is not a good forward core in the slightest. You know, we said that Gignac was going to be the Sean Monahan replacement in that video a few days ago. I didn't think it was going to be that blunt. He's literally a second-line player in the NHL now after just being in the AHL a week ago. So, there's Gignac for you. But the Montreal Canadiens with this lineup were still able to make it work, and they ended up beating the Washington Capitals with a score of 5-2. And not to mention the fact that you had a boatload of production and a really good amount of movement from guys on the top line in Cole Caulfield, Suzuki, and of course, Slafkovsky. Because not only did Slafkovsky score himself 2 goals, but some of these markers looked so good, and they were part of, you could say, Slafkovsky's hypothetical mixtape. If you had to make a highlight package of Slafkovsky's best moments throughout his NHL career, you'd probably see the one-timer goal he put in the back of the net yesterday on that highlight reel. You'd probably see some of the plays he's been making as of late. Because Yuri Slafkovsky, the first goal that he scored, was a very nice little drop pass feed to Venantaslav, where he walks right in on the left side, drags it, shoots it, and it's in the back of the net. But the second goal that he scored on the power play was just a beauty. It's Mark Matheson at the point, top of the umbrella, who finally recognizes that Yuri Slafkovsky is a passing option. So he sends it to the right side, and Slafkovsky, just like the Alex Ovechkin he is playing against, absolutely hammers it. What a slap shot one-timer that Slafkovsky possesses there. It goes perfectly under the blocker, it's in the back of the net. Add to that the final goal, the 5-2 goal, and the Canadiens take this game with a pretty convincing score. Yuri Slafkovsky had 2 goals. And if you go over to his total game log, sure, you can see that he's got 22 points in 50 games played, on pace for roughly 36 points over a 42-game season. But that gets a lot better when you cut out the first parts of the year. Here's what Statman went out there and said. Yuri Slafkovsky has 7 goals, 8 assists, and a plus-minus of -8 in 21 games since December 16th, 2023. So within the past month and a half-ish, Slafkovsky has been under a point per game with 15 points in 21 games. Okay. But if you segment it a little bit further and we go back to January 15th, Yuri Slafkovsky since then has 5 goals and 2 assists and a plus-minus of -8 in 8 games since January 15th, 2024. The 2 goals tonight, plus the goal against Pittsburgh and then the assist against the Islanders, not to mention other points sporadically placed against Colorado, New Jersey, and Boston. Yuri Slafkovsky has gone out there and started to be a consistent point producer. Sometimes he has been moved around in the lineup, but for the most part, him being part of this top line with Caulfield and Suzuki has been just an amazing fit. And it's one that we've been seeing throughout the course of the year. It's one that you could debate why did they even separated in the first place. But now, Slafkovsky is playing on a line that is playing like a first gosh darn line. When was the last time the Habs had a legit bona fide first line that played like a first line? You can't even say during the playoff run that they had that, because I'm sorry, Gallagher and Tatar was more of a shutdown line rather than a top-scoring, high-flying, offensive producing line. They didn't get any points in the finals run, and I get it, there was a bit of a peculiar set of circumstances. They had a system and a formula that worked and allowed them to get that far. But when was the last time the Canadians had a first line that moves, plays, and scores like Copley, Suzuki, and Slafkovsky have been? It's been a long time, and maybe that's just opportunity for other fans of other teams to go up there and take the piss out a little bit of the Montreal Canadiens. Haha, you guys are clamoring over a guy who's under a point per game in his past month's worth of production. That's funny. Very, very funny. And true, while what Slafkovsky is doing is not like, generational, he's not Connor McDavid for crying out loud, it's certainly a lot better than what some of the insiders and coverage people on SportsCenter were saying earlier in the week. Here is what Hamlet said yesterday. Fun fact, Slafkovsky scored 2 goals tonight. Sportsnet's Luke Gazek, who said that Slafkovsky should play a fourth-line role a few weeks ago on live television, scored 5 goals in his 147 career NHL games. Everybody is going out there and talking about this, and I mean, looking at the replies, there's a lot of angst over here, so I can totally see why this has gained as much traction as it has. But in order to help us out a little bit more in regards to the Canadiens and the Capitals game, what we had seen out of Slafkovsky, let's go over to the Canadian sub, because the post-game thread of the night's action against Washington does have some good discussion points for Habs fans. Slafkovsky has literally become a different human over the past little while. He's becoming himself, Mattia BCX says. Slowly but surely, he's getting the confidence we saw him having in the Slovak national team. He's an absolute force. He can dominate the game at times. You can't tell me he hasn't. Another comic goes out there and says, honestly, out of all his talent, Slafkovsky's biggest one is probably his ability to learn and adapt. He's completely transformed his game in like 3 months. It's unbelievable. Yeah, he's got that hockey brain. He's absorbing stuff all the time. He's improved so much, it's hard to believe. Another comment goes into the deeper dives to everything else. Ukrainian Habs says, good. Lots of positives tonight. A good overall game from the Habs. Some standouts for sure. Slafkovsky had other rockets on both goals, and most importantly, that shot is improving as the season goes on. He's getting it off much quicker. He's having a great season, and it's only going to get better. There also are some comments on like Matheson, Montembeau, Chignon, and then there are some bad things like, hey,